Post-training notice. National First Class Registered Exorcist. Chapter 38. Night Owl. Chen Zhen's phone rang, and Kita asked, "Where are you guys?" "Listen to my orders," Chen Zhen said. Through the side door, Zhi Xiaoduo and Xiang Cheng entered the brightly lit Feng Tian Hall. "I see Chen Zhen," Zhi Xiaoduo said. "Where?" Xiang Cheng asked. "Just east of the Meridian Gate," Zhi Xiaoduo said. "No more than 30 meters outside, can't you see him?" Xiang Cheng replied, "The dragon pupil is what connects the yin and yang of the real world and the mirror world. Right now, I can't see any humans, only ghosts." Chen Zhen, Kita, and Zhou Wanyuan were currently looking left and right as they stood in front of the darkened plaza. Zhou Wanyuan was holding her makeup mirror in her hand, which reflected the light and the ghost souls filling the plaza. "Isn't that your family's heirloom, the Ya-revealing mirror?" Kita asked. "How come it can reveal ghosts as well? In this day and age, who still carries two mirrors as they rush around?" Zhou Wanyuan asked, irritated. "Do you understand what it means for a thing to have multiple functions? Let's go, quickly." Chen Zhen interrupted, "Stop looking for now. Follow us." "Where did the us come from?" Zhou Wanyuan couldn't resist pointing out. "There isn't anything in front of us at all right." Chen Zhen's mink was very agile, and it climbed up onto the third floor, pulling open the latch from the inside. Kita carefully pushed the door open, and a beam of golden light shone out from within. The JIXIAN was standing to one side of the Feng Tian Hall, while a giant with a severe expression sat on the dragon throne in the middle, his face blurry. "The Ghost King of the North," Xiang Cheng said quietly to Zhi Xiaoduo. The JIXIAN's and JIXIAN's faces had no features, and Zhi Xiaoduo didn't know if they were able to see him. Xiang Cheng put one hand on his shoulder, looking behind himself from time to time. Zhi Xiaoduo also turned back to look, and he saw a glittering green snake-shaped soul. "What are you looking at?" Zhi Xiaoduo asked. "The boss snake," Xiang Cheng replied quietly. "That big guy behind us?" "Yes," Xiang Cheng replied, his attention elsewhere. "That big guy. What is it?" Zhi Xiaoduo asked. "That's mine," Xiang Cheng replied. "That's the Yaogui soul that's living within me." Zhi Xiaoduo. Just as they were talking, the boss snake slithered into the hall, causing a wave of movement amongst the ghostly souls in the hall. It lowered its head slightly, flicking out its tongue, and its huge snake eyes watched Zhi Xiaoduo, glowing with a faint light. Zhi Xiaoduo and Xiang Cheng held hands, standing in front of the boss snake. "The snake of Mount Ba," a severe voice asked from the throne. The boss snake's ghostly form lifted its head, meeting the gaze of the Ghost Lord. The Ghost Lord raised a hand and waved it carelessly, and the boss snake went to one side to line up. The JIXIAN came down from where it was standing by the Lord's side, joining the JIXIAN's line and standing at the end of it. All of the ghost souls, when they passed by the Ghost Lord, bowed to him in greeting, so Zhi Xiaoduo did that as well. "All ghosts face the king," Zhi Xiaoduo said quietly. "Let's slow down a little, so that we can buy some time." Xiang Cheng went along with it, putting one knee to the ground as he lowered his head, and the two of them slowed the line down somewhat when they were paying their respects. Zhi Xiaoduo couldn't stop looking left and right, before saying to Xiang Cheng, "In a bit, when the JIXIAN walks in the door, the soul-binding chain will temporarily lose effect. When I say run, let's run to the left and hide under the Ghost Lord's seat." Zhi Xiaoduo and Xiang Cheng finished paying their respects to the Ghost King in the Feng Tian Hall, and the two of them left with the rest of the procession to the left-hand side of the Ghost King. The JIXIAN went directly through a huge, glowing door, and the chains binding the procession finally broke. It was also at this very moment that the JIXIAN, which had been waiting at the very end, came in front of the Ghost Lord and bowed to pay its respects. It was at this time that Zhi Xiaoduo tugged Xiang Cheng, and the two of them threw themselves to one side, hiding under the Ghost King's feet. The JIXIAN was walking in the very back, and once it was done bowing to the Ghost Lord, it turned and lifted its hands slightly, and the soul-binding chains returned once more. Xiang Cheng hugged JIXIAN as the two of them peeked out from under the Ghost King's throne, looking all around them. After the JIXIAN's group left, they scrambled out from behind the throne, and they went in through the glowing door after them. With a shua, time and space shifted, and the two of them found themselves in front of another hall in the depths of the Forbidden Palace. And what's this? Xiang Cheng saw that there was a mink by his foot. JIXIAN said. This is Chen Zhen's. Chen Zhen's? Xiang Cheng asked. They should be close by, JIXIAN said. It's just like your Sigui, it's Chen Zhen's protector beast. Sigui isn't a protector beast, Xiang Cheng said in reply. Don't mind it right now, let's follow them inside first. The JIXIAN and the JIXIAN led the procession along, including the boss snake, into the Jinshan Hall. A purple light glowed from within, and JIXIAN and Xiang Cheng peeked in from the outside. Say, do you think it can predict that we're currently sneaking a peek at it from the outside? JIXIAN asked. It shouldn't be able to anymore, Xiang Cheng replied, because we've already turned into ghosts. Ghosts cannot see the past or future of other ghosts. That's right, JIXIAN remembered. Did this mean that he was already a higher dimensional life form? But he didn't feel higher dimensional at all. But I can't see the future of the human realm, JIXIAN said. Why's that? Xiang Cheng pointed at the silver river above, saying, you have to return to the divine vein to be able to see it. JIXIAN lifted his head to look at the sky, and Xiang Cheng added, but don't go up there. As soon as you do, we won't be able to come back. Outside Jinshan Hall, a huge magical array glowed with a purple light. Where's Chen Zhen? The doors to the hall opened, and Yan Fei's voice traveled down from the sky. The night owl, its eyes glowing with orange light, glided down with its wings spread, its claws grasping a long object wrapped in a talisman bag. The night owl stopped on the stairs, its claws holding that object down. The master of the Daipankara clan has already been diverted away, an old man's voice said. I imagine that not long after this, he will come chasing. If you need it, then you should do this quickly. As soon as the heavenly market rises, you will have to wait for another year. He won't be able to chase us here, the night owl said coldly. All ghosts face their lord, and with the ghost lord reigning here, he will not allow him to disrupt the night market of the Hungry Ghost Festival. You'd better hand over what you agreed to sooner rather than later, the JIXIAN said slowly, at one side. This time, carrying out that matter that you asked of us was not easy, and we almost got caught a few times by that Akala family. A hoarse voice issued forth from the JIXIAN. Yan Fei, when will you give us the thing? The night owl let out a series of odd, hoarse rasps, staring intently at the two old beings without faces. The two old beings each formed a set of eyes for themselves, and they looked at the object in the night owl's claws. Naturally, the night owl said in reply, the souls in the Luahun bell, you have already obtained. Saying this, it used one claw to pull the cloth away gently, saying, in a bit, once the matter is concluded, I will give it to you. Begin ba. Let us take a look at it first, the JIXIAN said with a cold laugh. The night owl responded, once the matter is concluded, naturally I will give it to you. What purpose is there in me keeping it? If you keep dragging it out until the sky brightens, what would be the point? The thing is right here. The JIXIAN wanted to continue arguing, but the JIXIAN walked to the center of the array and said methodically, no need to drag it out any longer. What we promised you, we will accomplish without a doubt. JIXIAN held his breath, exchanging a glance with Xiang Cheng. The two of them circled around to a remote spot, while the JIXIAN and the JIXIAN each stood on one side of the array, symbols appearing on their bodies. With that, the array in the center began to glow with a bright light. A huge eye sprouted on each of the JIXIAN's faces. That scene was very horrific, as one lone eye took up half of the face it was in. Light shot out from it, gathering into a torrential vortex, before a whirlwind rose in the array. In the next moment, outside the JIXIAN hall, all of the ghost souls that approached the array were sucked into it by this whirlpool. Chen Zhen was gasping for breath as he ran, entering the plaza outside the Fei Tian hall. Just as he set foot in the plaza, a powerful gust of air began to circle in a vortex around the outside of the plaza. "Oh, not good," Kita said. "I think we've been discovered." The dark, dim world turned into a pitch-black vortex, and countless ghost souls went flying across the plaza. "What should we do?" Zhou Wanyuan asked. "I'll cover you guys," Chen Zhen said. "Barge straight in through the Fei Tian hall." "Can't we circle around?" Kita asked. "We can't," Chen Zhen said. "I'm sending your Grey Wolf first to go support them, and we'll run straight ahead. The Yin-Yang Road passes under the feet of the Ghost King, so when I count to 3, follow me and run." The three of them used all their might to rush into the center of the plaza. In that instant, the countless ghost souls in the ghost market discovered the scent of the living, and the scene devolved into chaos. The ghost souls collided into each other and knocked over Menpo's soup. "Impudent! Who comes here?" the Ghost King's voice resounded under the sky. "Run!" Chen Zhen shouted. They passed through the claws of Menpo, charging right into the Fei Tian hall. Kita let out a loud roar in the Ghost King's face, and a glowing grey wolf sprung forth from his body. Zhou Wanyuan gracefully twirled in the air, turning into a glowing silhouette of a white deer, and the grey wolf and white deer passed by on the left and right, brushing past the Ghost King's body as they shot towards the back of the hall. A burning ball of light stood in the center of the throne. In the surrounding darkness, the ghost souls whistled past, and it was as if the gates connecting the heavens, earth, and underworld had opened. From the depths of hell, thousands of hungry ghosts came rushing out, charging towards them with a furious roar. Chen Zhen took a step forward and called up the heart lamp. He spread out his palm, and the heart lamp suddenly shone forth. In that instant, their surroundings changed, and the entire forbidden palace shone with golden splendor, brilliant beyond compare. The light that broke through the dark night lit up the world, and the ghost souls all scattered as the inside of Fei Tian Hall devolved into chaos. The drum beats echoing through the sky stopped, and the world went silent. "What is Yan Fei using to trade with them?" JIXIAN asked. "I don't know," Xiang Cheng replied. "Perhaps it's an artifact from the organization." Outside JIXIAN Hall, the magical array yawned like a gaping maw. More and more ghost souls were sucked in by that strong wind, and they wailed in the array. JIXIAN felt a huge suction force, and he hugged Xiang Cheng tightly. The moment the two of them were pulled into the array, JIXIAN could no longer determine which way was up. He grabbed around wildly with one hand, and suddenly, two glowing spiritual beasts came leaping through the air towards them from the left and right. The grey wolf caught JIXIAN, while the white deer flew towards Xiang Cheng. It tossed its antlers, caught him around the waist, and with a swing like it was rubbing its antlers against a tree, sent him dangling from the eaves. The grey wolf let out a muffled noise, and with a pat of its claws, it hugged JIXIAN. Right after, it used its other paw to step forward, and it leapt up onto the eaves. The grey wolf and white deer borrowed the eaves of the JIXIAN Hall to secure the two of them there, so that they could fight back against the windstorm. With a sudden boom, their surroundings collapsed and drifted away. The light coming from the center of the array gathered up, and the eye of the storm calmed. Scenes drifted past like the lights of a revolving lantern, shining with a bright light. This is the third time that I'm telling you guys. The exorcism committee will no longer accept new members. Chen Zhen betrayed the organization. You should retire. The fog is too dense. I can't see anything at all. JIXIAN, this is Kita. The grey wolf replied. That's Yan Fei's soul beast, and we've caught it in the act. Don't rejoice too soon, the white deer said coldly. Unless we manage to catch the night owl, there'll be no way to convict him of his crimes. Wan Yuan. JIXIAN asked. Where are your bodies? They're currently running for their lives at top speed along with Director Chen, the white deer replied. Splitting my mind in two places, it's not good. I slammed into a pillar, the grey wolf said. It hurt so much. Kita, Zhou Wanyuan and Chen Zhen sped past at top speed, and when Kita jumped up, his forehead smacked into the horizontal rafters. He let out a loud cry of pain. What principle does this follow? JIXIAN asked. Can you materialize your soul? Don't ask all these random things at such a time, the white deer said. What kind of damned mission is this, where we even have to gate crash the ghost festival? No one said that we were going to show willful disobedience to the Ghost King. What will we do after we die? Won't he kill us? But if we're dead, JIXIAN said anxiously, then we can't be killed. The white deer, are you done? Stop arguing, the grey wolf said nervously. Are you guys still not here? It's us, the white deer said. We're too far. A massive amount of souls were sucked into the array, and they wailed as their energy was sucked from them, before they vanished one by one, turning into smears of light. They revealed the not-too-distant future, and the night owl raised its head to look at the screen. With a sweep of its wings, the first glowing illusion flew over, revealing a list of names. The second illusion flew over, showing a letter that someone had handwritten. The third scene, a document case, and in it appeared a middle-aged man with salt and pepper hair. The fourth scene. The night owl's eyes glowed with light, which met the glow of the scene in the illusions. Wow, like holographic movie, JIXIAN thought, and you can scan through it? What kind of a principle was that? After I get back, I must update my flashcards properly. Xiang Cheng stared at the illusions that appeared in the windstorm, his attention entirely focused on them. JIXIAN, however, couldn't stop getting distracted. What did the night owl have in its claws? What item was Yan Fei using to exchange with the JIXIAN? What artifact was it? My Yao soul is about to be swallowed, I must go stop the JIXIAN, Xiang Cheng said. Take this opportunity to get away from here and go find Chen Zhen and the rest. The grey wolf and white deer held the two of them down, and the array kept shaking as if it was about to collapse. It became clear that the power of the souls was too strong, and it was already difficult for the JIXIAN to continue. JIXIAN said, wait, I'm thinking about that artifact. Ignore it. Xiang Cheng said. Get ready. Xiang Cheng let go, and with one hand, he grabbed the white deer's front hoof. I want to see the future 1 year from now, the night owl said solemnly. It won't hold, the JIXIAN shouted loudly. The night owl insisted, I must. As soon as I see it, you can deactivate the array. As soon as the wind stops, start running towards the outside, Xiang Cheng said. JIXIAN, wait. Countless thoughts flashed through JIXIAN's brain in that moment. What was the night owl holding? Suddenly, an idea struck him. He remembered what Xiang Cheng had said in the library. The JIXIAN and the BIXIAN raised their canes up high, huge mouths forming and opening on their faces, and they each spat out a black-colored beast soul that they added to the array. The range of the wild winds and the tornado grew even larger, filling the entire plaza, reaching for the sky. The soul of the boss snake trapped in the wind raised its head to the sky and roared, trying to free itself from the array, but it was restrained by the BIXIAN and the JIXIAN's canes. Thin soul chains issued forth, reaching out to pull it back into the array. A blurry scene appeared on the wall of wind, which showed pitch-black mountains and a large river. A black shadow stood in the midst of that. The night owl, curious, raised its head to look at that scene. A little clearer, the night owl said. Xiang Cheng let go, and he left the shelter of the white deer, his soul flying towards the tornado. Great immortal Xiang, the white deer said angrily, don't take things so deeply to heart. Xiang Cheng's soul was sucked into the wall of wind with a shua, and with a flash of golden light, the boss snake, rolling and writhing, was dragged towards the center of the array. JIXIAN's pupils grew slightly larger as he watched the boss snake struggle mightily and roll in the wind. But as that snake's body was rolling, it changed, turning into the body of a young man. Go that way. JIXIAN said, shaking the grey wolf. Give me a hand. Kita. The grey wolf lowered its head to glance at JIXIAN, who raised his head and said, quickly. Right now. The white deer protested, once you capture the night owl, you can easily confiscate the artifact, don't take this risk. You guys are insane. The grey wolf used its left front paw to hold onto JIXIAN, and with the other three, it leapt into the air, landing not far behind the night owl. The night owl's attention was already focused on the wall of wind, and it spread its wings, flying to just in front of the wall, its eyes staring at the illusion on that wall. JIXIAN took this opportunity to slam his hand down on the artifact wrapped in that talisman cloth, pulling it towards him. Yi? Aren't I a ghost? Why can I touch physical objects? The grey wolf, I don't know, what do you want this for? JIXIAN studied the talisman cloth and said, I understand. This is Yanfei's soul beast, so the cloth wrapped around it allows it to become tangible to soul beasts, which is why as a soul, I can also grab it. Stop coming up with pop science explanations, the grey wolf said. What else do we need to do? JIXIAN was already confused. He hugged the talisman cloth as the grey wolf held him, and though he wanted to untie the cloth to check, if he undid the cloth, then he wouldn't be able to hold the artifact, and it would clatter to the ground. Dodge! The white deer called. The JIXIAN and the JIXIAN had yet to notice this change. Right after, in the moment that Xiang Cheng was flying towards the array, he let out an infuriated roar. The night owl raised its head, and the scene of 1 year later once again grew unfocused. The boss snake's Yao soul was once again taken by Xiang Cheng. Afterwards, a beam of golden light came shooting out. It broke through the illusion, slamming into the night owl. The night owl let out an angered screech. The JIXIAN and JIXIAN instantly called the array back to themselves, chasing after Xiang Cheng. The night owl struggled furiously, only to be sent flying by a single palm strike of Xiang Cheng's. The JIXIAN and the JIXIAN each formed a pair of hideous eyes and a bloody maw that was filled with sharp teeth, and they pointed their canes towards Xiang Cheng. The soul chains glowed with a purple light, but Xiang Cheng's soul glowed with an azure light. He roared angrily at the sky as he was trapped in the air. The two JIXIAN seemed to have used up all their might to do that, but Xiang Cheng, with his own strength alone, managed to stubbornly hold out against those soul chains. Countless strange images flew forth from Xiang Cheng's body in that instant, swirling with fog and flashing with lightning. Instantly, the night sky around them was filled with a torrential downpour and a peal of thunder, as a huge snake soared through the sky. Blue-green flames burst forth from Xiang Cheng's eyes, and he bellowed at the heavens. Director Chen and ourselves are almost there, the white deer shouted. It's time to go. Kita. The grey wolf and white deer took flight, and they leapt through the air as they left, flying towards that glowing door that connected the Jinshan Hall and the Fengtian Hall. Upon seeing that danger was looming over Xiang Cheng, JIXIAN put down the artifact and came charging over, shouting loudly. He leapt forward, flattening the JIXIAN to the ground. The soul chains broke. Xiang Cheng disappeared into thin air, and a huge, glowing green snake appeared. The snake's tail lashed out at the ground, and with a sweeping motion, the JIXIAN was sent flying. The JIXIAN rolled across the ground, and JIXIAN staggered to his feet, escaping to one side. The glowing snake turned as it studied JIXIAN, flicking its tongue out a little. Stars revolved in its eyes, as if they held the entire vast Milky Way in them. JIXIAN. JIXIAN wasn't afraid of snakes, and never mind that with such large eyes looking at him, he felt that this one was quite cute. Xiang Chang? Are you Xiang Chang? JIXIAN reached out with both hands, and the boss snake's head dipped a little. It used its snout to poke JIXIAN, and JIXIAN closed his eyes, hugging its snout. A warm smile appeared in the boss snake's eyes, and it blinked. Right, this, JIXIAN ran towards the artifact, picking up the bag covered with talismans. At this instant, in the plaza outside the JIXIAN hall, the huge head of a beast let out a roar as it spat out 3 people. Right after, in front of the Fei Tian hall, countless ghost lanterns gathered, shooting out rays of light as they began to burn away at Chen Zhen, Kita, and Zhou Wanyuan. Chariots came racing from all sides towards the center of the plaza, and the scene devolved into chaos. What lowly mortals dare to cause such a ruckus? The ghost lord's deep, rich voice resounded across the forbidden palace. Capture them! Countless ghostly soldiers and commanders came rushing over, and JIXIAN shouted, Chen Zhen. The boss snake retreated after that single touch, raising its body as it flew into the air. In midair, it turned into the human Xiang Cheng, his arms spread, and he landed on the rooftops. With a flip, he raced towards the escaping night owl, and as he leapt into the air, he turned into the boss snake once again, its tail flicking out. The night owl let out a wail as it fell towards the ground. Let me finish! JIXIAN cried. Right then, the night owl pounced on him, sending him to the ground, staring vengefully into his eyes. You're seeking death. The night owl's face morphed into Yan Fei's countenance, set in a dark expression, but a green fire shot forth from JIXIAN's left eye, as if it spewing forth vengeful dragon flames, and they flashed across the night owl's face. The night owl let out a pained cry, and it circled in the air and flew away. Go die bot, Zhou Wanyuan's voice sounded from above his head. Idiot! The white deer leapt into the air, turning gracefully in midair, before its hind legs kicked out and struck the night owl squarely in the chest. The night owl let out a wail like that of a grenade as it went flying straight out, colliding with the red wall, before limply sliding down. End chapter. Post-training notice. National First Class Registered Exorcist. Chapter 39. Ambush. The Grey Wolf shielded JIXIAN. After retreating behind a pillar, JIXIAN hugged the magic artifact tightly. Kita and Zhou Wanyuan took back the Grey Wolf and White Deer respectively. Kita, I found them. Catch! JIXIAN shouted, and then threw the magic artifact wrapped in talismans to Kita. Kita wanted to put it away but JIXIAN shouted, look at what's inside. Kita shook out the talisman cloth, and a dark thing dropped out. Kita. Chen Zhen. What is this? Chen Zhen shouted in a hurry, catch Yan Fei's spiritual beast. Never mind what that is. Are you an idiot? Kita and JIXIAN stared at each other. Kita wrapped it up and said, don't care about that right now. No, no, no. JIXIAN said, give it to me. Could that be the sword of wisdom? JIXIAN remembered that Xiang Cheng had mentioned that the JIXIAN had the sword of wisdom. However, this was just a dark iron thing. Xiang Cheng had never seen the sword of wisdom himself and had only heard his father mention it. How to check then? It wasn't like there was a tag in it. JIXIAN held the talisman cloth and used it to hold the magic weapon. He carefully looked through the light and found that it was indeed a sword, but the entire sword was dark. On the black iron on the sword were carved some strange patterns. What are you guys doing? Chen Zhen roared, take him and hide. Kita said loudly, he's studying the magical artifact. This is the incantation of Akala. JIXIAN said, I figured it out. Kita cooperatively drew in a sharp breath. Zhi Xiaoduo glanced at him. Kita immediately said, I didn't hear anything. What are you going to do? Talk. Are you two still not finished yet? Gagantorura Kita. When you're carrying out a mission, don't stand around twiddling your thumbs. Zhou Wanyuan roared. She pulled off her hairpin, held it in both hands, and murmured a few incantations. The hairpin suddenly grew larger, carrying her up into the air, and sent her leaping towards the fallen owl. Zhou Wanyuan took out a makeup remover bottle and unscrewed it. However, a strange shadow flew up from the ground, roared, and wrapped itself around Zhou Wanyuan, lifting her up from the hairpin. Zhou Wanyuan was about to fight back, but the dark shadow ignored her, and shot at Zhi Xiaoduo. It stretched out an illusory huge claw and was about to slam onto his head. A bright light came off of Kita's body, and he turned into the grey wolf again. He yelled, damn it! Run! Kita rode on the grey wolf's back, and the grey wolf grabbed Zhi Xiaoduo with a paw and leaped away from the claws of the shadow. There was clashing and whistling everywhere, and evil spirits surrounded the place. Wearing combat uniforms and riding war horses, the war ghosts rushed like a hurricane towards the center of the square. Director Chan Zhou Wanyuan screamed, figure something out. Survive this wave? Chen Zhen shouted, the ghost emperor is leaving soon. Xiang Cheng sometimes turned into the boss snake, slithering in front of the hall, and sometimes turned back into a human. He jumped on the eaves and wrestled with the dark shadow that the JIXIAN had turned into. Zhou Wanyuan was disheveled, and she bit the hairpin, held her hands together, pursed her mouth, and spat it out gently. The hairpin turned into a sharp arrow, 1 turned into 3, 3 into 10, 10 into hundreds into thousands into 10,000s. The light arrows flew in a slant like a sea tide and shot at the flying ghost soldiers soaring down from the sky. Turn on the lamp. Flourish the silver sword. Director Chen. Kita and Zhi Xiaoduo were being chased across the entire field by the JIXIAN. While they were busy with that, they were still complaining, we can't hold on. Chen Zhen silently recited a mantra, and with a shake of his left hand, the silver sword on his bracelet instantly turned into a multitude of swords that covered the sky, and with a shua, they all volleyed away. How much longer? Zhou Wanyuan screamed. Soon. Chen Zhen shouted, don't panic. Catch Yan Fei's spiritual beast first. At this moment, the dark shadow of the JIXIAN was obviously no match for Xiang Cheng, so it suddenly exploded and increased its strength. The JIXIAN no longer cared about Kita, who was riding the grey wolf, instead it turned and shot towards the JIXIAN. The JIXIAN and JIXIAN roared and rushed towards each other. They merged together and transformed into a giant bird with 2 heads that was spewing black flame. While the boss snake was madly entangled with the giant bird, and Kita said loudly, where did you throw Yan Fei? He's gone. He can't escape. Zhou Wanyuan shouted, go look for it. The sky and the ground were full of ghost soldiers and ghost generals, and they had already completely surrounded the outside of the hall. With nets above and snares below, even if they had wings, it was difficult to escape. In an instant, they were all closely pressing towards them. Chen Zhen gasped and tried his utmost to bring out the heart lamp and light it up again. The boss snake let out a long screech up into the sky and was swallowed up by the black fog of the JIXIAN and JIXIAN. Xiang Cheng Zhi Xiaoduo cried. The light of the boss snake grew weaker and weaker. Zhi Xiaoduo shouted in Kita's ear, I'm holding the sword of wisdom. You can't enter the soul devourer's body, so send me there instead. The black fog had already twisted together, and the double-headed black phantom came out, wildly swallowing Xiang Cheng. I have to give this to Xiang Cheng, because the sword of wisdom is his family heirloom. He must be able to use it and maybe make a comeback. Zhi Xiaoduo said. Stop explaining. Kita roared, let's just do that. Deal. Kita drove the grey wolf and slammed headfirst into the black giant devil that was swallowing the boss snake like crazy. The JIXIAN let out a hideous, strange laughter. Its belly had already grown huge. They could vaguely see the shape of a huge snake twisting and struggling in its belly. Kita shouted, "Fuck off!" The grey wolf briefly broke through the maw of the JIXIAN. JIXIAN flew into the belly of the devil, collided with the boss snake, and hugged the snake tightly. He shook off the covering with one hand and shouted, "Xiang Cheng." At the same time, tens of thousands of ghost soldiers and ghost generals had rushed forward and squeezed their battling team into a small circle. Weapons surrounded them in a tight circle, and they all shot towards them with a shuo. In the devil's belly, the shiny black sword of wisdom fell down, and JIXIAN's heart dropped with a gadeng. However, just as the sword of wisdom was falling, it was carried away by a force. Then, the boss snake's body silently transformed into a human shape, and JIXIAN's other hand was tightly held by a warm and big hand. In the dark, Xiang Cheng's body appeared, and he lifted the sword of wisdom in his left hand. From the sword to his left arm, golden light glowed. With a loud crash, Akalanatha appeared. For a moment, the world was quiet, and a mass of light diffused around Xiang Cheng. JIXIAN looked at him in a daze, and then he was embraced by Xiang Cheng's other hand and hugged in front of him. He saw Xiang Cheng's handsome face. His lips moved a little as he recited a spell. Immediately, it traveled down the sword of wisdom. The pitch-black blade suddenly burst into gold, and the 9 characters of Akalanatha's mantra quickly lit up and shone with bright and dazzling light. In this golden wave of light, golden armor appeared on Xiang Cheng from head to foot, covering his whole body. He closed his eyes, one arm around JIXIAN. Holding the sword of wisdom in the other hand, he drew a golden wheel from the top of the head to the soles of the feet and then back to the top of his head. The golden wheel instantly exploded out, transforming in tens of thousands of ways. Rings of light crisscrossed, and swept over like a tsunami. The G-Devil bore the brunt of it and was cut into pieces by the rings of light, before the ghost soldiers and generals in the sky were completely dispersed before that extreme power. In the night sky, the giant beating the drum disappeared. The giant drum dissolved into stars, separated, gathered and transformed into a big bell hundreds of meters long. When it let out a dang, the entire Forbidden City rang with that sound. From the Xifeng Temple to the Jishan Hall, and then to Sinning Palace, a golden light burst out through the lower levels of the Forbidden City. The ghost market took off slowly, and all the ghosts were sucked back in. Xiang Cheng held JIXIAN and gripped the sword of wisdom. Countless ghosts floated away and left. The golden light that filled the ghost market shone upon Xiang Cheng. An illusory scabbard appeared on the right of Xiang Cheng's waist, and he naturally and smoothly sheathed the sword in his left hand. So arrogant and presumptuous as always. The ghost emperor said coldly. As a last resort, I have run into the ghost emperor. Xiang Cheng replied, lifting his head. Please forgive me. Xiang Cheng made his left hand into sword fingers, coming into a stop before his brow. His whole body glowed with strong light, his hair like a burning flame. He bowed his head to the ghost market above his head and saluted from a distance. The ghost emperor sneered. When the second bell rang, tens of thousands of ghosts gathered into a river of light and returned to the center of the ghost market. Xiang Cheng whistled arrogantly. People don't summon ghosts, and ghosts don't disturb people. See you next year. Xiang Cheng said casually. Everyone. The owl fluttered at the foot of the red wall, and a white mark of light appeared on his chest and abdomen. Mr. Yanfei. Kita laughed loudly. I'm sorry La, ha ha ha, what a coincidence. Aya, plan carefully and scheme in detail, right? I didn't expect this. Zhou Wanyuan rolled her eyes at Kita, took out a makeup remover bottle, and poured out the liquid inside. The owl couldn't help fluttering and was sucked in by Zhou Wanyuan, turning into a swirling brown fog. Xiang Cheng became the only light source in front of the hall. The ghost market rose up, and the square turned completely dark. Don't go. Zhou Wanyuan said, light. Xiang Chen ignored Zhou Wanyuan, let go of Zhi Ziaduo's hand, and led him to the top of Fengtian Temple. Are we going back? Zhi Ziaduo asked. Later, Xiang Chen replied, looking up at the sky, and then looking down at Zhi Ziaduo. How beautiful! Zhi Ziaduo said. Xiang Chen was wearing golden armor with his hair spiked upwards. His face had changed a little bit, and his entire body was glowing with light, just like an ancient general or like the ancient god of fire, Zhu Rong. He radiated a strong light outward, warm enough to melt people, as if it was shining into the deepest part of Zhi Ziaduo's soul. He was wearing glowing iron armor carved with runes, and while holding Zhi Ziaduo's hand, a kiln-shaped handguard appeared on the back of his hand. The armor had a gap at the abdomen, and he could vaguely see the beautiful abdominal muscles on the body of light, and the boots were in the shape of a golden dragon. Zhi Ziaduo touched the wrist guard and felt a burning heat. Is this the legendary image of Buddha? It's a manifestation. Xiang Chen corrected, you can only see the change brought about by the sword of wisdom because we are ghosts right now. Normally, you can't see it. Zhi Ziaduo laughed and suddenly thought that the sword of wisdom had been stolen by Yan Fei from who knew where. If it had been stolen from the exorcism committee, would they have to return it? Xiang Chen seemed to feel what Zhi Ziaduo was thinking and waved his hand to indicate that he didn't have to worry about it. I'll take you to see something nice, Xiang Chen said. Wait here. Zhi Ziaduo looked up at the sky, but Xiang Chen motioned him to look ahead at the city of Beijing, where right now, they couldn't even see their hands. Wait until the third bell rings, Xiang Chen said. When he said that, dang, the bell in the skies rang. They stopped at the eaves of the Fengtian Temple. With the last bell ringing, the ghost market rose up into the heavens. Throughout Beijing, tens of thousands of lights rose from the ground and followed the ghost market into the heavens, like a grand display of fireworks, resplendent with color, shooting into the sky. Isn't it pretty? Xiang Chen said, Beijing actually has so many. What is this? Zhi Ziaduo stood side by side with Xiang Chen at the top of Fengtian Temple. They could only see this vast scene because the two of them had turned into ghosts. Xiang Chen replied, this is the last night of the Hungry Ghost Festival. Ghosts who don't die because of their lingering attachment to the human world take with them their longing for their families and loved ones to guard the dreams of the people from their past. They will meet them in their dreams, until the last moment, where they reluctantly leave. After dawn, everyone will forget this evening. So beautiful! Zhi Ziaduo exclaimed. Sit. Xiang Chen said. Suddenly, music sounded behind them, and Karen Mok's slightly raspy voice sounded. A long, long time ago. Karen Mok's voice sang lyrically over the shifting, colorful fireworks. Zhi Ziaduo. Xiang Chen. Kita took his phone and turned on the amplifier and shook it at them. Zhi Ziaduo put a hand to his forehead, and Xiang Chen was confused. What are you doing? Giving you guys some BGM, creating a nice atmosphere. Kita looked out into the pitch-black darkness and said, even though I don't know what you're looking at, shouldn't there be some music right now? Zhi Ziaduo and Xiang Chen were speechless. The world out there is so splendid. The world out there is so hopeless. Whenever the sun sets to the west, I will always be here waiting for you. High above the capital, the lights of the ghost market twisted like an aurora or fluttered like a mirage, and fewer ghostly specks of light rose from the ground. Whenever you think the world out there is so hopeless, I'll still be here patiently waiting for you. The ghost market flew away with a quiet chua, dissolving into countless specks of light, and flowed towards the top of the sky like the Milky Way. We're going. Chen Zhen shouted, what are you guys still looking at? Akalanatha. Put away that light on you. Or it'll be in the headlines tomorrow. Hibai Fusheng is coming in to collect the ghosts. Why is this song never ending? Zhou Wanyuan asked. Kita's phone was still playing, and he said, "It's on a loop." "Let's go, ba." Xiang Cheng turned his head to look at Zhi Ziaduo and smiled at him. Zhi Ziaduo had a misconception right then, feeling as if Xiang Cheng was going to lower his head and kiss him, but Xiang Cheng did not. He just took him to fly under the top of Fengtian Temple and jumped into Chen Zhen's car. They sank in directly, and fell in the back seat. There were still some left that weren't chased up. Zhi Ziaduo asked while leaning on the back seat and looking out, "What should we do?" "Legend has it that they will be captured and brought back by Hibai Fusheng." Xiang Cheng replied. "Those two are in the back of the car." Chen Zhen glanced at the rear-view mirror. Xiang Cheng took back the light. He had already returned to being a faint spiritual body, and the outline of his silhouette was blurry. "They're here," Kita replied. "Some of them have the capability to evade Hibai Fusheng," Xiang Cheng explained, "and so they'll wander around in the human world, but because the living's qi is too strong, those ghosts will slowly lose power, so their memory will also fade away little by little." "Can they get it back?" Zhi Ziaduo asked. "No," Xiang Cheng replied. Zhi Ziaduo asked, "Then what would they turn into?" "Wandering wild ghosts," Xiang Cheng answered. "In the end, they will disappear completely." As he said this, Zhi Ziaduo felt Xiang Cheng's hand touch his hair, and then he slowly opened his eyes and found that he had already returned to their body. Xiang Cheng couldn't help but laugh. "Do you still remember?" Xiang Cheng asked. Zhi Ziaduo was a little confused and shook his head. The sky was already white with dawn, and Zhi Ziaduo tried his best to remember, but it felt as though he had been in a dream. The events of his dream, he could vaguely remember, but it's the details, the scenes, they were blurred. All he knew was that he had been in a very big battle, and that it had been exciting and fun, but if it wasn't for the ceiling having a hole in it, Zhi Ziaduo couldn't even be sure whether he had dreamed of turning into a ghost, or if a ghost had dreamed of turning into him. The exorcists around who were guarding them saw them wake up and immediately called Chen Zhen. Si Gui stood on the windowsill, quietly staring at Xiang Cheng. Zhi Ziaduo and Xiang Cheng's eyes met, and they both started laughing. Dawn was just breaking, the street sweepers were just beginning to clean the streets, and the morning wind whirled the gray scraps of paper into flight. Xiang Cheng and Zhi Ziaduo got in the car while the trio, Chen Zhen, Kita, and Zhou Wanyuan, all looked tired. Yes. Zhou Wanyuan was on the phone and said into it, "It's exactly as you guessed, it's him. We already have the evidence. Take Ziaduo home first, ba." Chen Zhen said, "Xiang Cheng, don't go to the association. Can you three handle it?" Xiang Cheng said, "If they start acting like desperate cornered beasts and decide to get rid of all of you first, what are you going to do?" Chen Zhen didn't say anything. "I think I'm the one who needs to head back the most, my makeup has already melted, okay?" Zhou Wanyuan said. "Yan Fei won't wait for you." Chen Zhen said, "Lao Zi has put up with him too long, or if you want to go back and sleep, that's okay too." When the car stopped at a crossroads, Zhi Ziaduo asked, "How about I go back first? You guys take care of it and catch Yan Fei." Zhou Wanyuan said, "If we let you go back first, what if Yan Fei catches you first and turn you into a hostage?" Zhi Ziaduo said, "He won't, ba, he doesn't know where I live. All of us staying together is the safer choice," Chen Zhen said. "Right now is the most dangerous time." Kita yawned. "Dangerous? Director Chen has already arranged everything far in advance, right? We'll need to ask Teacher Zhou for help." Chen Zhen replied, "Wanyuan, when will your dad come?" Zhou Wanyuan replied, "He's setting out from Shijingshan now, and he wants you to get ready." End chapter.